Hi and welcome to the Small Scape. Today is part 2 of the what I call the Snowy Scape. Although this scape I am designing to have any kind of a backdrop, but if you haven't seen part 1, I will include it down there, up there somewhere. But today we will be adding possibly some driftwood. Love to see what kind of jumps out at me. And then obviously we're going to plant it and put in some water and some little occupants. Well, here are a couple that I really thought I was going to use. I could even stand them up in the tank, kind of mimic the trees that are going on in the picture behind it. I could even do kind of a traditional laying it down kind of along the top. Even this one, like a fallen dead tree trunk, kind of cool looking thing. But I just didn't want to have really big driftwood. Just wasn't feeling it. So I liked a couple of little pieces that actually fit in really nicely on the sides. Just one on each side, just totally keeping it very, very simple because I really want the focal point to be the picture. And this is kind of what it looks like top down. And this one was cracking me up because it literally just fit in, it nestled right in so perfectly. I was quite happy. This one too, kind of snuggled up against the little rocks. Just makes me so happy when just love it when a plan comes together. Time to glue down the driftwood, but I'm going to try and use as little as possible as I usually do because I do reuse these pieces of driftwood a lot, and of course the rocks as well. For plants, I'm using exclusively buse. I'm using a bunch of different kinds and I really like them. There's a couple of them that I'm using in the back that are a very bright green, but the rest of them have a kind of bluish green, almost a purplish kind of hue to them. And if you do know buse, not only are they tiny and super cute and beautiful, but they do have like an iridescence to them that are it's just so beautiful. And all of them together I think just look so cute. I actually didn't use buse for a while because I do find them a little bit difficult sometimes to plant, just because they're kind of gangly looking sometimes when they're little starts. But I think their tiny little size and the small quantity of these that I have, it's going to be perfect for this tiny, tiny little tank. And they really just fit perfectly in all these little kind of nooks and crannies, but right around the little piece of driftwood. Now the main trick with using super glue and plants and really any kind of hardscaping that you're doing is to try and get it right the first time. Otherwise you may have some white residue in spots that you don't really want it, and maybe that will be a little bit more visible. But no worries if that does happen. You can always glue another little plant on top of that little spot of super glue, or really just anything. You can add some more super glue and put some substrate, kind of sprinkle that on top of it to mask it, but not really a big deal. Plus when the plants start kind of growing and maybe you'll get some algae, you'll never see it again. This scape was really fun, and it actually is part of 2 series that I'm starting here. One is scapes that are inspired by art. I think that can be super fun and something different. And then also scapes that are inspired by the season, because when I complete my studio up here, it will be very season inspired, changing throughout the seasons and holidays and all that, and I think it'll be super fun.
So very minimal planting, but I absolutely love it. It's very simple, and it's just kind of what I would imagine would be happening in a little kind of stream. And I love that bright green kind of on both sides, so it's kind of a symmetrical asymmetry sort of thing going on there, with the little driftwood just kind of providing some interest. Since this is a new setup and we've got fresh tap water in there, I always add Fritz Complete. And then of course this is a brand new setup, so Fritzheim 7 to get the cycle started there. And who did I add? Yes, I added Blue Dream Shrimp with this tiny tank. I think they're a natural in snow, winter. It just says blue, cool colors, and they're just so cute. I also did add just a little tiny snail. Thought he'd be fun to kind of be poking around. And since this is a stream kind of scape, I added a few tiny little fish. They're getting maybe a couple of gallons in here. And this is the Heteroender formosa, one of my all-time favorite super tiny fish. They're also known as the Florida least killifish, and I just love them. They're perfect for tiny little scapes. They go very nicely with shrimp. They are micro predators, so I would not keep them with baby shrimp, but this scape will be somewhat temporary, and after a while we'll see how they get along. I may possibly remove the Heteroender formosa. We'll have to see, but definitely something to keep in mind if you do want to pair these two together. But for this small of a tank, and it is unheated, these two are great options. Shrimp or the Florida least killie, they don't require a heater. Our house is usually around 78 degrees, so they'll do just fine. Now you will see that I did add a little air stone in the back, and I didn't really attempt to mask it a whole lot, just so you could kind of see it in the back. It just in the back left there, and it's just enough. And I actually attached it to an Aquarium Co-op USB powered air pump, which comes in super handy, and that just gives it a little bit of airflow. And there it is. I got a frame from Hobby Lobby that I thought would be so cute, with that white kind of ornate frame. Really kind of fun. And I also tried with the light. I haven't figured out exactly which light I'm going to be pairing with this when it goes into my completed studio. Right now this tank doesn't actually have a permanent home, but I just mounted the light above the frame for now. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week.